What's up, everybody? I'm Dontae Kansas City Nightmare Harris, aka Casey Nightmare for short, and I'm here with Chevan Baker today for Tech Habit Weekly, Episode 7 for the July 31st edition. Now, Bob Roach is actually sick today, and we apologize, ladies and gentlemen out there that are tuning into this podcast via YouTube. He's really sick. He tried to make it, and he's just such a diehard worker that he was going to try to get on anyway, but he was just too sick. So he said the show must go on, and we're going to go ahead and have Chevan fill in for him as my co-host for today. So, Chevan, tell everyone a little bit about yourself and where they maybe can follow you on certain things, if you have an account or things like that. Just get us kind of familiar with who you are.
Alrighty. Hello everyone. My name's Chevan, as Dontae already stated. I like tech, of course, like technology. You can follow me on Twitter at I underscore amchi. And
Cool. All right. Well, today, and like I said, for users and listeners out there who just tuned into this podcast or onto YouTube, Bob CPU Kid Roach is out sick today, and myself and Chevan are going to go ahead and kick off the show today, and we're going to just jump right into it. But everybody knows this is Tech Habit Weekly, the only place where you can have a habit without a 12-step program. Now we're going to kick it right off into our first topic today, and this topic is actually iOS 7 Beta 4 has been released to developers, and I want to go over some of the major changes that have been done in this particular iOS update. There's 11 changes that Apple has made. In between the tweak lock screen, there's different things like they moved the HDR button and they kind of rounded off the call and in buttons, and I like that. That was a very good touch. And they abbreviated some of the names. Like, say, if you were talking to me, my name is Dontae Harris. So on your phone, if you're in a group chat or something like that, it will come as maybe Dontae H or something, or Bob R or Terrell C or Chevan B, that type of thing on the different things. They got different animations for Snapchat. You can cancel spotlight, things like that. There's actually a notification for completed upload section now that's in there. You can swipe in between the notifications center on the top, and there's a lot of good things out there for it. Now, Chevan, I'm not sure if you're running iOS 7 on your phone, but I am. I don't know if you aren't. Are you anticipating the new update for your phone to be pushed out this fall?
Of course. As I am not running it on my phone, I can say that, I am a little L7 for that. I'm still, getting adjusted with the Apple family and whatnot, but I am anticipating, this update. At first, when it first came out, I wasn't liking the icons and all that. But as I've watched it closely, I'll look at screenshots, I'll read up on what people have to say, and that's basically how I've been keeping close to the storyline without putting it on my phone just yet. I'm still trying to get used to it, but when it comes out, I think I'll be ready. I really like the idea that Apple is tweaking software and not tweaking hardware just yet. They're bringing out the software side of it, and I really love that.
All right. Yeah, and I agree 100%. I like the fact that Apple seems to be tweaking the software, as you said, and it's almost going towards what consumers may like and things that I've actually had problems with. I've had a problem with on iOS 7 where some of the lines and borders were kind of running into some of my text and whatnot, and I've seen that a lot of that has been cleaned up with this past update. Now, one thing I do want to talk about is this particular Beta 4 was released after 3 weeks rather than 2 weeks, and as we know, last week that the Dev Center was hacked by a user, and different developers' account information and things were leaked out. And I'm pretty sure that's the reason for the 1 week pushback. Normally, the betas come out every 2 weeks. And also, with the intrusion that happened with the Dev Center, we all do know that the Dev Center is back up and running as of right now. Now, do you think these features in iOS 7 will come a little more frequently? Do you see this as being able to be pushed out one more beta, a beta 5 before everything is done? And I know you're not running it right now, but just give me your thoughts and opinions on what Apple has next as far as the dev center and maybe tighter security around rebuilding their database and their software to prevent future hackers to doing this in the future.
I do see Apple pushing out a beta 5. I do see that. Apple has been known for a long time, a company that likes to go towards perfection. So, they're gonna tweak something, and it's always gonna be something that they want to fix. So I do see them pushing that out. Now, as far as them rebuilding their dev center, um, I do see Apple, getting more man. They're manning down. I see them manning that down more, so that this doesn't happen again. Just like anybody, they had a vulnerability that someone came in, and any company, they see this happening. They're gonna have some. I see them putting up different restrictions, or well, not restrictions, but different things to make it a little bit harder to get in there for this to happen again. So it'll slow Apple down. I don't see them want to take another hit like this again.
Okay. Now, rumor says that there's going to be probably two more betas that come out before the Gold Master comes out, and also some of the tweaks that have been done is, at least from my experience, since I'm running iOS 7 on my iPhone 5, I noticed that my animations have been sped up and things like that, which is a good thing for me because sometimes I feel like some of the animations were a little slower on the I want to say especially on the second beta, and there's a lot of things that are tweaked with Siri. Siri can now have a question and answer section now. I mean, you can basically ask her what's 18% of 13,476, and she will respond to you. And also, I've noticed, and it may not have been with this update, with this particular beta, but her voice is different. I like that her voice sounds a lot more natural instead of robotic, and it's a very good thing. And we'll see what happens if these rumors are true with two more betas or maybe just one more beta, like you were stating. We'll just have to see in the upcoming future as far as their updates. So um, we have here. I'm really not sure what anyone else in the chat has maybe heard something that haven't been discussed on this particular topic, but also staying with the iPhone and iOS 7, we found that Apple, there's been strings inside their software that shows new biometric fingerprint sensor could be seamlessly coming to maybe the new iPhone that's been found in one of their strings. Now, there's a file in that string that is labeled while touching the home button with their thumb. And that's in the string. I mean, and usually it's in their plist file that's usually in their strings to tell you exactly what the software does and what different actions do. Now, there's some speculation that say that the iPhone with VoiceOver could a user, according to the similar development for the new iPhone, the user interface can have fingerprint scanning. They say that the system has been complete, and this is all speculation as of right now, but it has been found in the string. Now, with that biometric fingerprint scanner, do you think that's something that'll be beneficial to yourself, or are you just the type of guy that just likes to slide to unlock, or maybe just put in a passcode or something like that? What are your thoughts on the fingerprint scanner if it comes out?
Um, I think it would be very beneficial, for me as a person, because let's just be honest, that's neat, and if um, this is to be true, Apple is going to be opening up a brand new market because they're a trendsetter. They're going to be setting that bar again, and now you're gonna see other phone companies, possibly Samsung. They're going to try and copy that because you're always going to have the copy. The copycat is going to come right after that just to
Correct.
say, well, we got it too, and then they're going to try and tweak it a little bit and add, different things to it. But it would definitely benefit me. I would just love to, it'll make things quicker, just simply tapping the phone, using it, recognizing, my fingerprint, just something like that would be, it will make it much easier for me. So I would definitely love to see something like that.
Right. And also with having it easier to use, I like to think of, it being more secure. Say you left your phone out somewhere and you ran to the restroom, for just a split second, and someone can easily just slide to unlock your phone, and they have access to your contacts and messages and, photographs and things like that. I think it would just add another layer of security as far as iOS's system goes. Now, do you think this is something that can be adopted, maybe a feature that can be turned on and turned off? Because some people, may not like that feature. Do you think it's something that they'll be able to just enable and disable when they feel like, or do you think that some people will think that this is actually more annoying to unlock your phone that way?
I think seeing that it would be Apple, I think they would have it as a feature, that you can enable and disable, just for personal preference. I don't think Apple would be like, we have this and this is the only way that you have to use this, and it's there and they're going to force you to use it, just like anything else. I think it would be that option, and they would leave that open to the consumer. So, and
Okay.
so that it won't become an annoyance, because if it becomes an annoyance, that may, some customers may leave because of that. Well, Apple's making us, they're making us use this technology when we don't want to use this technology. They may have someone like that or customers like that, and consumers just leave. So I think, that will always be an option that Apple would put in there. They wouldn't mandate that you have to use, this technology.
Right. And now we here on Tech Habit Weekly, we also throw around the term gimmick very loosely. And to me, that would be a gimmick if it was a feature that was just stuck on there. And a lot of people, they give me flack about certain things that I've said about Android software, such as the retina scrolling, with your eyes. You can scroll through web pages and things like that on
Yeah.
the new update from Android. And I agree with you 100%. I believe it'll be a feature that will be able to be enabled and disabled because, there certain features aren't for everyone. I know people that don't use their Siri and they just don't. They just, oh, I do everything this way. And maybe it's because they haven't used it enough to want to adopt it and things like that. But not everyone's going to like every single feature on every phone anyway, even including the iPhone. That's not out of left field or anything that they can't do that. Now, the other thing is, do you think that Apple will implement that biometric fingerprint scanner on other iOS devices, such as your iPad and maybe new edition Retina MacBook Pro, MacBook Air, things like that? Your notebooks and your laptops will be even more secure that way.
Well, of course, I see them implementing this. If they're not just going to do it for one device. I see Apple implementing this across. This will be the gold standard for Apple products, just like iMessage. It's going to be that standard. When you get an Apple product, this Apple product is going to have this, it's going to have this, and it's going to have this. And so I definitely think that would be a standard across all of their devices, future devices, just to show that this is, an Apple standard. And that goes along with, them being uniform, and showing, we're not going to make any differences within our products, because, I see that they like to keep things, concrete for their consumers. So,
Okay.
it's just like if they move from the iPhone, they can move right on over to the iPad, or they can, move over to their Mac, and just have the same environment, the same reaction, and be able to engage with the product in that manner.
Okay. Now, and keeping on with the thumbprint section of this podcast. Now, also introduced in iOS 7 is what's called Keychain. Keychain makes an encrypted password for your accounts that is going to be backed up via your iCloud account, which basically makes encrypted passwords for things, such as emails and different login accounts and different things like that. But it's a password you never have to remember. It is stored through your iCloud. Do you think that they will implement something like that with the thumb scanner to securely do that, to have them all basically linked together? You think they'll have something like that?
Yeah, I could see something like that, because now that that would be, it'd be much easier. It make I know it make my life 10 times easier because
And mine
that's
too.
that's one less thing I have to remember. I just use a fingerprint, my thumbprint, and that holds the key to unlocking something. So I know that would that if they're not thinking about it, I'm gonna put it out there for the record. Apple, I think you should think about it because that would make a lot of our lives much more easier because we won't have to remember just something else. We won't have something else to put on our to do list or something else to put in our little notebook to
Notes,
remember.
yeah. Right, right. I agree with you. I agree with you. And also, if you're a user like myself, my smartphone is definitely my computer away from my computer. I use it for everything. I bid on things on eBay. I have so many accounts I log into. I tweet and different things like that. Now, also one big thing is, do you think that they will try to implement this with some sort of form of payment? So, because I pay a lot of my bills with my smartphone. Now, that would be a huge feature if you can just say, if you're driving down the road and you're bidding on an item and, you just use your thumb to verify that it's you to confirm your payment through PayPal that's linked through eBay. Do you think they would implement something like that as well?
Of course, I wouldn't put anything past Apple as far as using this technology. Like I said, they would be creating a brand new market with this technology. So I wouldn't it's endless possibilities with that, and just with that, that's another thing that will make our lives much easier. Like you say, you I'm sure we all do online shopping, and we get up there, we don't want to go through, some of us don't want to log in through the PayPal, go through that whole process, have to click it, have to sign in, and just simple as that. I just paid you like that.
Right, right.
And so
Now,
that I would definitely love to see something like that.
right. Okay. Now, moving right along, we're going to get over into our next topic. Now, I don't know if anyone out there on the podcast or who's watching on YouTube live have heard, but iPhone has another rumor mill. Go figure. Of course, we're going to have plenty of rumors right before any new Apple product comes out. They're saying that Apple is going to release a phone called the iPhone 5C alongside with the iPhone 5S. Now, right as of right now, people say that it's a fake. There was a picture that was leaked on a Chinese website that had a like a dump bin full of plastic in casings that are labeled iPhone 5C with Apple branded logos on them. Now, there's been a lot of speculation about this over the past weekend, and with this particular image emerging, and people are saying that this is actually a legit picture. Now, I don't know what your thoughts is on it, but we've also seen a article that has different variables and different redundancies and whatnot that are in that picture that has basically confirmed that that picture has been photoshopped. Now, I don't know what your opinions are on it, but if they come out with something called the iPhone 5C, what do you think it stands for?
Um, let's see, crud. It just that lower end, just the lower end iPhone just does not sit well with that. The thought of that doesn't sit well with me. Apple has done so well as a company, with the devices that they manufacture, what they have put together. They haven't put anything, any lower end things together in their products. So, just the idea of a lower end product from Apple, that I don't like that thought. It's just, to me, it would be geared. I mean, it could be possible, but to me, if that were the case, I would see that personally as Apple just going in for the lower market. They're gonna put their foot in there to get the lower dollars. But I just I don't see that. That doesn't sit well. That the thought of that.
Okay. Now, with the iPhone C, as they're calling it, it's supposed to be a downgraded version of the iPhone, of course, made cheaper and things like that. Now, this type of marketing has worked extremely well for Android in the past, because Android is an operating system, not a phone company. So if you can pump Android's operating system to a bunch of cheaper phones that are available for people who may not be able to afford your higher end iPhones and things like that, I think this, in my personal opinion, it might be an okay deal for Apple. But as you said, they make premium products. They don't make usually lower end products. Now, there's been mock-ups and different shopped images of iPhone with a more rounded edge. It looks like it has the elongated screen just like the iPhone 5 does, but the corners are rounded and it has a plastic back. So could the C stand for iPhone color or something like that? Because do you think they'll go with the approach of how they did the iPod Nanos and iPod Touches that are available right now with all the different colors to their scheme?
I could. I mean, now I could see that if color is bringing a little bit of personalization, you know, to the market because people love their colors, as far as their devices, their mobile devices. Um, who wouldn't want to go get a phone that's in green? Maybe that's your favorite color, and Apple so far the two colors that they've been dealing with are black and white, and you see a lime green, and if that was my color, I'd go get the lime green, and
Correct.
I'd have a heyday. That'd
Hmm.
be a field day. I could see that now if they were introducing that into the market, but like I still stand on the side where it's just color. That's the only thing that's changing, not the hardware, what goes into it. uh, Same device, just different colors. They're changing the back with the color.
Right.
That's the only thing I could see that that'll work.
Okay. All right. Well, that's our topic on the iPhone 5C. Now we're going to move right along to our deal of the day. Now, this particular deal is a very, very nice deal. I'm thinking about buying this for myself because I don't know if any of you people out there on the podcast or watching on YouTube live right now use your phone for pretty much your digital camera, because I do. I mean, I don't even own a digital camera to tell you the truth, because I've got 16 gigabytes of storage on my iPhone 5 and I can go out and take better pictures on my phone than I can do on most digital cameras that are around 100 $150 depending on the megapixel size and things like that. But this is a 3-in-1 lens kit for your smartphone. It works for the iPhones. And one thing, there is a note on this particular ad that it's only available to customers who are in the United States, Canada, Germany, France, UK, Italy, Spain, Netherlands, Belgium, Switzerland, Australia, South Africa, Japan, and South Korea and Singapore. Now I know that's a lot of different locations, but depending on where you are, you won't be able to take advantage of the promotional price, and free shipping is standard in those particular countries. Now, moving on to the features of it. Now they come with three different lenses here, and one, they're going to have a fisheye lens to take real nice pictures with, and you can give that effect. I don't know if you guys have seen pictures of like fountains or different lakes or something like that, and the edges are all rounded. Well, that's using a fisheye lens. There's another one with a wide angle lens if you want a good landscape picture or something like that, if you're out on vacation or something like that. Then also they have the macro lens. Now, macro lenses are the ones with high powered, high density lenses that can get very close to objects, and they show them a lot on Discovery Channel and Nat Geo and things like that when they're doing documentaries. Those are the camera type of camera lenses that they're using in their high powered cameras. Now, Chevan, I don't know about you, but for only $24 of the price tag and it ends in 6 days, do you think you will adopt something like that to your
Of
phone?
of course, of course. I love neat little gadgets. I love to see something different, and that is something different. I could see myself purchasing that and having a heyday with it. I could just see myself just having a ball with it. That's something that I would definitely consider purchasing.
Right, and with a $24 price tag, I mean it's normally $69 from StackSocial.com, and it's 65% off right now at $24. And like you said, I could definitely see myself utilizing this in the future. And matter of fact, today I might just go ahead and make a purchase because, like you said, I like nice little tech gadgets. And that's why we're all here on Tech Habit Weekly. We have a habit of speaking tech and a habit of buying tech and reviewing things like that on this particular podcast. Now, moving right along, we're going to go with just a few tech stories that we're not going to spend a whole lot of time on. We're just going to get some brief conversation on it. Now, one thing is Microsoft brings Office Mobile, I'm sorry, to Android smartphones. And now, coming from a business aspect and depending on what type of company you have, Office is essential for running your business, especially on the go, on your tablet, on your smartphone. People are always doing emails and sending spreadsheets and things to each other. While the iPhone has PDF viewers and things like that for that particular format, one of the best things to use for those type of things in .xls files, which are Excel spreadsheets. This could definitely be a huge gain for Microsoft because of that need and that demand to have Office software on their tablets. What do you think about this release that has just come out from Microsoft?
I think it's a smart move from Microsoft. One of their smarter moves, considering their latest Microsoft 8. And that whole phase. But I see this is a smart move on Microsoft. And Microsoft is literally, they're a staple. They are a staple, and they're reaching that market. So I say this is a very smart move on their behalf, for them. Um, Not necessarily, that's something I would utilize because I still do use Android. Um, it would be something that I would utilize, but like with Android, they have so many, they have so many third party apps out there, and so I wouldn't say that it would be a necessity, but it's a smart move that they brought in the official Microsoft app
Right. And
versus
see,
so
back
they
in
can compete with
June,
third party.
and back in June last month, actually, they brought Microsoft Office for the iPhone, but you have to have an Office 365 subscription to utilize that on your iPhone. And as of right now, I'm not sure, but as a speculation back in June, there wasn't even a release for the iPad, which most people will want it on their iPad versus their iPhone because of the bigger screen. And that's just something that, like you said, it's huge, and different businesses, everyone's on the go nowadays, and that's why we have our smartphones and are able to have more and more data and things like that to video conference and Skype calls and things like that, and actually it helps run this podcast, as a matter of fact. And you said you Android user and things like that, and with going with this particular interface, I think it's good because I work with a lot of spreadsheets and I'm using Microsoft Excel for Mac. So it is a very good program. And to have Office Mobile for your business and for personal use, I think it's great. So moving right along here, we're going to talk about Apple opens iMessage spam reporting tool ahead of iOS 7. Well, basically, the messages are reporting unwanted messages sent from iMessage. Now, basically, what you can do is you can send your unwanted message report to imessage.spam@icloud.com. And you can include a screenshot of the message you received, include the full name and phone number that you received an unwanted iMessage from, include the date and time that you received your message so they can help you out. And you can do it different ways. I mean, if you're on a Mac, you can hit the Command Shift and the number 3 on your keyboard to screenshot your entire screen and send them so they can go to their new error reporting. Now, I like this, the fact that Apple is taking consideration of spam and different things that are affecting their customers, and they want to try to eliminate these different options. Now, Chevan, I don't know if you use a Mac at home or a MacBook or anything like that, but even with your iPhone, do you think that this error reporting is a good thing ahead of iOS 7?
Um, I think it is, but then I also think it's not. Um, I think it's good on the end, that Apple is taking the initiative, like you said. But the part that I don't think is good is, the actual part. This is just me actually, me having to take a screenshot and put all this in there and then go through the protocol, send it to them and all of that. To me, that's just a little bit much for me. I just rather it be, you know, me hit a button and I'm done with you, or they're done. It's like a wall versus going through that protocol where I have to screenshot this and show, because it's like you have to show your receipt to Apple before whatever they decision they decide to make. And I
Right,
just
right.
I just rather it be instant where it's like you're done.
I hear you. I hear you. And a lot of people have been complaining about these different features since smartphones have come out. You may have an annoying caller or something like that, and you can't usually just block their call with just using your phone alone. Normally, you would have to get some sort
Yeah.
of. I remember there was a jailbroken app where you could block calls, but it didn't really block them. It just kind of sent them to a different area, like maybe send it straight to your voicemail or something like that. And there are those features that are out there for different apps and things like that. But I'm kind of with you on that, in light of what you said. And it should, I think, be a little more, user friendly. I mean, that does seem like a lot of work to report spam and unwanted callers or people sending you iMessages and things like that. And maybe in the future, Apple will make this a little easier to say, hey, you're going to block this person or what have you, and make sure you understand the terms onto when you're going to block somebody and things like that. And maybe even give you a feature to maybe unblock somebody if maybe you were just having a bad time with a buddy of yours or something, and you can unblock them, something like that. Now, um, we're going to be going ahead and moving on to our next subject, and that's the Moto X is set to have a nano SIM and join the exclusive club of basically Apple iPhone. Apple iPhone is basically one of the only few smartphones that carry the nano SIM technology. Now, it's been reported that this particular SIM for GSM companies, of course, that have SIM cards, that the iPhone 5 and the Padphone Infinity as a third-party handset to adopt a nano SIM as its standard for that particular phone. Now, what do you think this will do as far as for the Moto X, or do you just think it's kind of piggybacking off of Apple's nano SIM technology?
Yeah, I think it's piggybacking. I just think it's simply piggybacking. Apple, like I stated earlier, Apple said it right here, and you gotta have somebody. It's only right. You're like that big brother that you have. They want to, come up right next to him and do what he's doing, and they just want to copy what he's doing. So I think it's just simply piggybacking.
Okay. Now, also with it being piggyback, in your opinion, do you think that other smartphone carriers will start to adopt a nano SIM, basically the nano SIM club, since it's kind of an exclusive club right now? Do you think other phone carriers will try to make their phones do the same thing?
Yes. Yes, I do. I do see that. I see them going there, and then it's gonna be so diluted. They're gonna try their whatever companies they're gonna try and get it, and then because Apple has it, and then once they get it, it's just gonna dilute it down, and then they're gonna be, and Apple's gonna have to come back with something different. But I do see other companies going, or they want to be right up there with the Big Brother too. So they're gonna go and try and jump as much as they can and get as close as they can to the real deal.
Right, I agree. I agree. Now we're going to switch gears a little bit and get off the kind of phone topic for a second here on this podcast, and we're going to talk about Time Warner Cable and CBS. Well, basically, CBS and Time Warner Cable has set a deadline for Friday for an ongoing retransmission feud that they've been having. So basically, they're trying to find out some negotiations in between each other about what's going to happen in between CBS on Time Warner Cable. Now, I don't know if they're going to lose CBS, but that's the speculation now. And CBS is a huge network, that brings news and a lot of different quality programming and things on Time Warner Cable. And I don't know if you're a Time Warner Cable subscriber. I'm not, but for potential Time Warner Cable existing subscribers and potential subscribers, do you think that's a massive blow because of how big that television network is?
Um, how I'm looking at it is, it this has happened so many times. As far as large cable companies or large satellite companies, they always come to butt heads about something, and if I'm not mistaken, about 2 or 3 years ago, Time Warner did the same thing with Fox. They could not come to an agreement, and they were gonna pull Fox, and it's like I don't know what it is. They put this every so often. They put this horror, this horror. They try to scare people with this big horror thing, and I just see it. They just put the hype in it because at the
So
end of
you
the
think?
day,
So do you think it's like a bluff? You think it's like a bluff? They're just kind of,
yeah,
putting something out
I
there to
think
get news, talking about Time Warner and different
yeah.
cable carrier providers and whatnot.
Yeah,
Okay.
I
Okay.
see them. That's how it's because they know they both need each other. I
Right.
know CBS is not stupid, and neither is Time Warner. So at the end of the day, it may not be what both wanted, but they're gonna compromise because they really need each other.
Right. Now, I have a statement here that shows that Time Warner Cable has quickly restored CBS programming after briefly implementing a blackout in certain markets as early as Tuesday, and with the viewers to face another interruption, if a deal can't be reached by Friday. Both sides have agreed on a new negotiation deadline of Friday at 5 p.m. in their continued quarrel over the retransmission fees to air CBS. Now, Time Warner began removing CBS programming shortly after midnight,
Mm-hmm.
but quickly reversed itself at the broadcaster's request, telling the Wall Street Journal that they were in time with Time Warner Cable that they were going to see if they can come out with a deal describing their fees and deals as completely outrageous, and this is in bold letters, outrageous as far as those fees, and the prospect of a longer blackout for cable audiences in New York, Dallas, Los Angeles, Boston, Chicago, Denver, Detroit, and Pittsburgh is a very real thing, and a very real thing that's come in light as far as Tuesday of this week. Now, I know that it takes a lot of money to keep these things on the air. It's a lot of money, a lot
Yeah,
of negotiations. Another big problem that people have is Netflix. Netflix, you know that there's movies that have been out for a long time, but for some reason they won't jump over because there's a deal and a negotiation and a contract that goes in between Netflix and whoever the carrier is. Maybe it's Sony who owns the movie, but they're
hmm
excuse me, the negotiations with Netflix aren't what they want as far as to being able to bring that streaming service to customers such as myself. I pay for Netflix every month and I love it. I love being able to just get on there and see what I want to see every time. But then, like you said, 3 or 4 years ago, Time Warner Cable tried to do the same thing with Fox Network, and you say you think it's the same fiasco over and over, and I do too because this is not the first time I've heard any of a network leaving Time Warner Cable or any other cable subscriber. I remember Comcast went through a deal as like that as well, and there's a lot of fees to be paid. There's a lot of negotiation, a lot of guys in suits to make these decisions and deals over what's going to happen with your programming. But you, as a customer, shouldn't have to suffer over deals that you have no business in. You just paid for your
yeah,
service and you want to watch your television and watch the things that have been promised to you. And this does cause a huge problem for those customers in those outlining areas. Now, we're going to go ahead and move on to the next subject, and this is a big subject for me. Anyway, I feel that this is absolutely huge. Apple's senior vice president Bob Mainsfield, and this is a guy that I'm just normally associate myself when I hear Apple. I think of Bob Mainsfield as reportedly leaves the executive team to work on special projects. Now, there's a statement here that Senior Vice President Bob Mainsfield silently disappeared from the company's website, leading many to wonder about the future of the company's most visible executive. And like I said, he's one of the guys I associate when I hear Apple. The name is just as mainstream as Tim Cook. When I hear Bob Mainsfield, I'm like, all right, this is a guy that's on my keynotes. He's going to give me information. He's a senior vice president. People know who he is. Now, it says after briefly retiring a year ago, he returned 2 months later, eventually heading a new division within the company focused on the semiconductor and wireless hardware. As for which projects he was supposed to be taken care of in different hands-on roles, the New York Times have reported that he was engrossed in wearable technologies like the Nike Fuel Band and the Jawbone Up. Now, when they say things like that, I think of something almost on the terms of iWatch because it says wearable technologies. Now we know that it's still speculation, and the iWatch is not fully, been really discussed. There's just been a lot of rumors and things like that with it. Now, how do you feel if Bob Mansfield, the senior vice president of Apple, does in fact step down or stays in special projects, and what is exactly special projects?
Um, as far as how they, as far as how they did it, so silently, if you will, how they passed it off, and then if he is stepping down, you know, I, like everyone else, would feel that would somewhat be like a blow, you know, because you're losing something, that was of someone of so much value. But if he stays around for those special projects, which I think those special projects will be those, those, even those small things that people speculate of, like the eye watcher, those, he may be up there working with other technologies or something new that may be speculated. I think those will be those special projects that we may hear of. He'll put, you know, his 2 cents in it, and help, in the creation of it. So that's what I see as them, letting him, or he's leaving, but Apple not wanting to let him go because he is such a valuable person to the company itself.
Correct, correct. I agree with you 100%. And, special projects hasn't really been specified as what it is. I mean, it says something within wearable technologies that he's been working on, but
Yeah.
special projects to me are things that just haven't been fully announced yet. We haven't heard anything about a 2013 Mac Mini update. I haven't heard anything about a next generation Apple TV. There's still speculations, but it's pretty much died down as of now about the iPad Mini 2 with Retina display, if it will have that. So there's a lot of things. So I think all of those, just those technologies alone, can be thrown into special projects. There's even more iOS integration within newer cars like BMW and things like that are adopting these different technologies from
Mhm.
Apple to have their phone and Siri and things like that implemented in their car as far as the directions and notifications and things like that, which makes it safer to drive and to travel across the United States or wherever you live, whether it be in the UK, Saudi Arabia. I saw we had a user who said he was from Saudi Arabia, things like that. And but I'm with you. That could be a huge blow because you have to realize no one wanted Steve Jobs to pass away. He was an essential icon, trendsetter. I mean, this is how Apple has got along as far as they did. And, it's not like he stepped down or anything. He passed away. And so with the implication of Tim Cook taking over as CEO of the company, we've noticed a few shifts, and not a lot of them have been bad. There's been a few because this is a company, it's a huge thing, it's a transition over how I'm sure Tim Cook ran the corporation and Steve Jobs. Now, when you go into Mansfield's position as senior vice president, it's a very big deal. This is not like your fifth level designer of the letter I on the iOS format or anything
Yeah.
like that. This is a main trendsetter and a main powerhouse that many people have come to know and love because you've been able to see his face and be visual with this person. I'm a type of person, I associate myself with faces, and the different faces of Apple right now are Tim Cook, Bob Mansfield. Now, does this mean we're going to see him a lot less? I don't know. They said that he also had something to do with semiconductors and things, which have me implementing and thinking that they're going to cross over, like you said, into the wearable technologies and things like that, but also smartphones. So you have to realize anything mobile is more or most likely going to have a semiconductor inside of it. Now, with this, hopefully this is just something where maybe they needed help on another side, or maybe he was a little too overloaded with some different products and things that they have coming out, and maybe he can reprise his roles as the senior vice president. But as of right now, no one's saying if they're going to fill in another person or have a new senior vice president or anything like that. So we'll just have to keep our eyes peeled and see what happens in the upcoming weeks and upcoming months as far as Apple to release their different products and software to figure out exactly what his position is within Apple's company, and you got to think about things like this. There's people that are diehard fanatics of Apple, myself being one of them. I don't label myself as a fanboy, but I do like their products, and I wasn't always on their products, and I can always tell anyone that I have experience with Android and custom firmwares and ROMs and things like that, and Gingerbread, Froyo, Honeycomb, things like that. I know these things, and it's not just like I'm reading it online or something like that. These are things I have experience with. And as far as being a Windows user and things like that too, so you associate yourself with Bill Gates. Now with Mansfield, if his departure from Apple, if that's what it's leaning towards, it could very well be a huge blow to the company, just as bad as people that have their stock in different things that are invested into Apple.com's stock. And then if you see a lot of people leaving a company right before big releases and things, you get a little weary. At least I do, because you kind of want to look at it like, well, what's really going on behind the scenes? We're outside, in front of the webcams and things like that. We're not inside the closed doors at Apple, so we don't know what exactly is going on inside there as far as what his position is, or maybe that's just a statement that Apple put out there to kind of calm the situation down and put someone else in control. I'm not sure, but we'll keep an eye on it. And guys, if you guys in the chat and IRC know anything about it, please feel free to send us a message, and we can go on with this particular topic and figure out what's going on the next coming episode of Tech Habit Weekly. We can keep reviewing some of these things on some of the newer information that we're getting about Mansfield. Now, moving right along, there is something going on with Facebook. Now, my thing is, everyone uses Facebook. I mean, your grandmother uses Facebook. I've seen dogs, cats, chihuahuas, even though that's another dog, chimpanzees with Facebook accounts. And you have to realize, my iPhone has a Facebook account. You can follow him at Casey Nightmare at iPhone.com, with 4G LTE speeds. It's very nice. You guys should check him out. He just posted a new picture today. As a matter of fact, he changed his cover photo and everything. But you got to realize that, to me, Facebook has always been almost like one step behind on certain technologies and implementing certain apps. Now, there's an app in the App Store called TimeHop, and right now, basically what TimeHop does, it takes all your information from about, I believe it's a year span, to figure out what you've done on that particular day 1 year ago. So if you have a Facebook account that's at least 1 year old, so today, 2012. July 31st, you can see what you were doing and what status update. Maybe you posted a picture, maybe things like that. So it kind of helps you reminisce, different things that you've done. Now, a lot of people might think that might be a little stupid, only because they say, well, if I want to look back that far, I'll just look. Well, you got to realize I'm a type of person that lives in a technology age where I take all my photos and things like that on my smartphone. So a lot of time, I don't remember when it was. I can go on there and look at the picture, I guess, or I might have deleted it. But you have to realize that if when they implement something like an app called TimeHop that lets you go back, you can reminisce and say, hey, yeah, I remember that time I posted that dumb comment, or that guy, he tagged me in a photo that it wasn't me, or something like that. And you can go from there with that. Now, there's a statement here that Facebook, the social network, pretty much currently has a feature, a history feature kind of like that right now, and it's called On This Day, and it became appearing on the different viewing options and select users' news feeds and things like that. And but there's not going to be any more updates for that particular thing anymore, because basically they're going to try to implement a little harder history search in their particular feed. Now, TimeHop, basically, you can use services like Twitter, Flickr, Instagram, and even Facebook, of course, to go back to see a little further into your history and things like that. Now, I don't know if you would use something like that. I personally have used it, and it's brought back some funny memories. I posted one thing. I think it was a 2011 MacBook Pro that I had, and it was a long time ago. I forgot all about it. Matter of fact, me and Terrell took a picture of. He had a 17-inch, and I had a 13-inch, and we had them side by side, and it was like gigantic next to each other. So we just thought it was funny, and that's our producer there, Terrell Clark, and took a picture of it. But it was well over a year ago, and Time Hop reminded me and was like, "Hey, you posted this on that day," and so I immediately took that picture and sent it to him in iMessage, and then we were talking about it. So, do you think that's a good implication through Facebook, so people can have their memories and maybe get people, talking about things that have already passed, or what are your thoughts on that?
Yes. I see it. What it is an electronic time capsule. That's what it is. You're basically going back to a time period. Whatever day, and bring up these memories, and you can reminisce. That's the point. You're supposed to reminisce on what you did. Back in the day. It may not be technically that long, but it still is long enough for us to leave our short term memory, you know. So that's something for us. I love I love stuff like that. Just to go back and see. Man, I really because there's been times I've used services like that, and it's been times like I really did this, or I really I really wrote this, or I really took this picture, and, and
Right.
and it's even times you sit there with your friends and you just review, and you can get good laughs out of it, and I I do like that service.
All right. That's good. That's good. Yeah, and like I said, as a person that I've used it before, I can see this really taking off, and people, like I said, people like to reminisce because now we're kind of through with the age of having gigantic photo albums where you're going through it with your grandma, and they're like, "Yeah, baby, let me show you the picture when you only had two teeth. I know it's in here somewhere." Well, something like Time Hop and these different Facebook services that they're going to implement can help with that because, like you said, we live in an age now where pretty much I know we're getting smarter as a human race, but I guarantee we're losing more and more memory cells because for some reason I feel like I can't remember anything. If I don't have my iPhone, I'm lost. I mean, bills don't get paid.
Yeah.
Services are being shut off. I'm forgetting to do lists. I'm running out of gas. There's a lot of different things that happen because I have what's called a media head unit inside my car, and I stream all my music from my iPhone. So if I leave my phone, it's going to be a real quiet car ride because I really don't like listening to the radio, and that's just my preference. And but something like that, if you forget your phone and things like that, that would drastically hurt me. So when take pictures and things and they're in your iCloud or your Dropbox or different cloud services like that, it's a lot safer in there because things happen to pictures. I don't know if anyone else has had pictures where they go, yeah, well, we had it, but no one can find that photo album. Well, since we're in a digital age, these things can be copied and repeated a billion times, and that's one thing that I do like about it. But these particular apps, things that are implemented within Facebook is going to be great. I don't see it doing anything bad. I think I just see it being great unless it becomes like a minor annoyance. What if you're, that girl who's real chatty and you send a lot of pics or something? So, a year later, every single day you're
Yeah.
getting a new update of something that you've already done. Now that could be a little more frustrating, but depending on the type of Facebook user you are. But I guess it just depends on who you are, and plus I'm sure you don't have to adopt that service. It's a choice, I'm pretty sure, and we'll find out as that gets implemented even more how that's going to come about with different users. And if you guys are using it on the chat, we will just let us know how you guys are feeling about it on this particular podcast. And hey, maybe a year from now you can say, hey, I was watching Tech Habit Weekly with Dontae Harris and Chevan Baker, when Bob was sick, and things like that. But that's pretty much it for our show today, guys. You know, I appreciate you guys. We're on this show for you guys, and this is what we wanted to do. And I mean, it's a big deal to us. And like I said, I apologize for Bob being gone today and things like that. And we're gonna just do just one more deal, and that's usually our last deal, part of the show, and that's gonna be our tech treat. This is probably the only treat you can get without getting diabetes and high blood pressure, and things like that. It's real salty and sweet. These
Yeah.
are the treats that you can even do on a day where you need to work out without being on a cheat day. So, Chevan, let's hear your tech treat. I thought it was a music app that you were recently hooked on. Why don't you give us some insight on that?
Alrighty. If you guys don't know, I'm a big music head. I have an extensive music library. And when Google Music came out, I utilized it, and I still do utilize it. This is my number one app that I use on my phone. It's a third party Google Music app. It's called Melodies. Um, you can sign in into your Google Music account and basically stream all of the music that you have from your Google Music through this app. And it works wonders. They have a paid and a free version. I tried the free version, fell in love with it. So I went out and bought the paid version. It's 99 cents. Um, I absolutely love the app. I use it every day. I'm like you. I cannot get in a car and not have my phone because that's like death to me. I have to have it. So that is my tech treat for you this week.
All right, that sounds like a good app, and I'm glad you said that because I don't have that app, and that sounds like a really good app. And like you said, if you're that type of user, I mean, I know people who just run marathons and things like that, and they cannot be without their music. Well, if you can already have your music and your smartphone in one place, that's a huge deal. And I can tell you right now, something happens to my iPhone tonight, bet money I kill myself tonight because I have to have my music. There's no way I'm going to be going anywhere without my music. I have to have it. That's why I have an iPod Classic. That's why I still have an iPhone 2G that I'm using just as an iPod Touch and my iPhone 5 because I cannot be without my music. I literally leave certain devices in certain cars because of that. I'm like, there's no way. I'm dead serious. If you guys think I have a problem, at least I'm on Tech Habit, because that is a habit of tech. I can tell you that right now. But very inexpensive, 99 cents, guys. It's out there in the Apple App Store. You can find all those different things in Chevan's tech treat out there. Sounds like a very good app, and I definitely going to try to adopt that. But that's pretty much it for the July 31st edition of Tech Habit Weekly. I'm Dontae Kansas City Nightmare Harris, aka KC Nightmare. And I want to shout out to our producer, Terrell Clark. And we're here with Chevan Baker today to fill in for my co host, Bob, a CPU kid, Roche, who's off today due to being under the weather. You guys can find me at twitter.com at KC Nightmare. And we will be back next week for Tech Habit Weekly, episode 8. And always remember, I've got 99 problems, but tech ain't one. We'll see you next week.